Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Not Fade This podcast. My name is Joshua Reimer. I'm joined by none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Jared Block. Jared, how are you doing on this fine Monday afternoon?
Doing great, man. It's warm now where I'm at least for a couple of days. And that's what we kind of saw with the MLB season. Now, again, like weather isn't the main driving factor of home runs, but it certainly helps. And when you get that spot where we had Wrigley for this weekend and a few other spots start to warm up and heat up, good things happen. And yeah, I'm bearing the lead here, but you had specifically a phenomenal weekend. It felt like baseball is officially back this weekend after a couple of weird slates to start the year. So, talk to me about this weekend. I'll be the first to admit I had a terrible Thursday and Friday, and that was just before the warm weather set in. So, I'm excited to be back. How was Saturday and Sunday for you?
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday, fantastic. Saturday was good. I felt really good. I think I went 2 for 2 on flag plants and ladders just because what ended up missing? Corey Seager ended up kind of just showing up blank, and then Senga didn't,
Bingo.
and it just ended up being terrible against the Athletics. But a lot of other things ended up working out well. We got the Jordan Walker call right. We got Jordan Alvarez right. And we got a lot of other things right. So Saturday was really good. Sunday was the premiere day, though. I had a very, very good day yesterday. I was talking to Jared, and like, it's always awesome to have those good days. He was like, "Man, you crushed everything on Sunday," and I was like, "Yeah, I got Wrigley right." And he was like, "You didn't just get Wrigley right; you kind of got everything right." But yeah, it was a very, very good day on Sunday. 4-0 on baseline for ladders and flag plants, and I think both ladders fully cashed too. So a very, very good day overall, and excited to carry it over. Excited to bring it into today.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, let's keep going, man. Like I think that if you were to summarize the first like 10 days of baseball, you get what you normally get. You get some weird variants. You get some aces that are struggling. Now it is the first time in a couple of years that we've seen the transition of WBC into what the regular season looks like, and that has certainly affected guys like Paul Skeens, Rick Scuball, to name a few. So with that said, like I think we're kind of over the hump to a certain degree, and the main part of that, even if some guys aren't still over the hump, is that we do have sample sizes that we can actually dive into for more than just X players doing X against this handedness right now. We can actually go further, and we will go further on the show, which is why this makes baseball shows with Trinity more fun. It's that we can actually go further than just base level stats and guys hitting their stuff in the last 5 games, right? So we are excited from that front. I think it's a nice 10-game MLB card today, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get going.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. I also do just want to hit on like the home run, like the weather thing. Like it is getting
Sure.
warmer. It is nice.
I have
I
extra
think
two
it
cents on that too, so go ahead.
I think it's a big deal, man. Like I think that like there was people. I mean, like we talked about it a lot last week in the Discord. There are people like really freaking out about the home run rate right now. And worrying about hit rates and more walks recently because of ABS and a whole bunch of different scenarios. And I think it is very early in the season. We brought up a post made by Ballpark Pal where they were talking about the home run rates to start the season. They were referencing a whole bunch of different things. I think it's a very good article, by the way. You should check it out if you have the chance to. It's over on their X account. But I also think like we're 8% through the season, or at least at that point last week, we were 8% through the season. We're around like everyone's around like 15 games in. So it's a very, very early point in the season. And I think you just need more data. I think you need more warm weather situations before everyone starts freaking out about home runs. And yesterday was kind of a proving point of that, right? Like we saw the last 2 days, honestly. We saw 31 home runs on Saturday. I don't know how many home runs we got yesterday, but I'm sure it's a similar amount. Yeah, hitters are going to be fine. The home run rate is going to be fine. It's just going to take some warming up because it's been a really cold start to the year.
Yeah, I will tell you here. I always go to onlyhomers.com for daily home run counts.
Never seen that before.
Let's see where we're at yesterday. I'll look into it and find it. But my whole 2 cents on this is, I think I took a pretty aggressive approach, and I just said it was all noise. And I think that, yeah, probably an 85-90% of it probably was all noise. You have to remember as well that we still are in a world and in a country where you got half of the teams with no domes. And so
Yeah.
you're just going to get, and I don't know why they necessarily do this. You can't really predict the weather in late March, early April anyway, but like, why are we playing series at Wrigley, series at Pittsburgh, series at Minnesota? Like, why are we playing this early in the year? I don't know. Chicago White Sox, same thing. Like, I don't really understand why they're doing this, but that is a main contribution as to why. And you add in the East Coast stuff too, where it's starting to heat up there, and you have temps in the 40s for the first 2 weeks of the season, and that's obviously going to project in lower home runs. So I think that 85% of it, 90% of it was all noise, and we're starting to see a lot of that trend in a good direction.
Yeah. 36 home runs yesterday.
Yeah, that's
34 home runs on Saturday. So 70 home runs over the weekend. I think that's much closer to what you're going to see throughout, and probably more throughout the rest of the year. Like, as long as we sit around that 40 number, I think things
two
are
home
going
runs a game on a
Yeah.
15-game slate. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay. Anything else about the weather? If not, let's get to today's weather and start it off with that.
No, nothing crazy on that front. We'll update that as I think we can have if we see like 7 or let's say 5 of the 7 days have 30 plus home runs, I think that kind of puts a kibosh on the whole worrying about home runs thing.
Yeah.
With that said, weather-wise today, we don't have cores on the slate, but we do have the A's in that ballpark. Not really hot there, temps in the 60s, minimal winds, but still notable as one of the hitter-friendly ballparks on today's slate. What we can say in a hitter-friendly park situation and in a nice weather situation is this Yankees spot where we do know it's a hitter-friendly ballpark. Temps are in the mid-70s. Winds are blowing out 12 to 15 miles an hour. And we don't see any crazy rain. There's some storms here early, though I do think that at the very least, we could see a late start and they just play the rest of the game. We also have an interesting situation in a very similar light for the Pirates and Nationals game. There's some scattered storms in the area, though I will say that with the scattered storms, and that's pretty common with the front situation, which we saw in Wrigley, where if you're going to see Midwest cities with 70-degree temps in this time of year, it's usually because there is storm systems in the area. So we have to keep an eye on the rain stuff for the Paul Skeens start and the Pittsburgh Pirates offense. The only other really scary spot, which I think is kind of a slight downgrade from earlier in the day, is that we do have weather in the Minnesota Twins game versus the Boston Red Sox. It's important because it's the Garrett Crochet start. There's some really, really huge storms moving through the southern part of the Minneapolis area. It's not technically over the area right now, but that could change in a couple hours, and so we'll just have to see where that sits in about 2 hours from now. I don't think it's even a spot where they'll delay. I think they'll just postpone it and call it. So that's kind of how scary this is. So if you're playing Crochet, good luck. If you are in a spot where you want to play Crochet, and I do think I want to, we need to hold off for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anything else here? If not, we'll head over to top in play team totals.
No, I think we're all set. We do not have a game on this card that is under 50 degrees, and actually under 60 degrees on top of that.
Yeah. Well, the Dodgers game is,
LA, I guess,
but
yeah.
it is what it is. All right, let's head over to top implied team totals, and the top implied team total for the day belongs to the New York Yankees as they face off against the Los Angeles Angels here. They have a 5.5 implied team total. The over-under in this game is at 9.5, while the Yankees are minus 193 on the money line. That's gone up. It was minus 172 at open, so keep that in mind. This is an interesting spot where this Yankees team has kind of been like ice cold, and now they get this respect from Vegas here. They are currently dead last in WRC plus against left-handed pitching. They are dead last in weighted on base average against left-handed pitching this year. They have the 6th worst K rate against left-handed pitching this year. So like the stats don't point to this team doing well, but Vegas obviously has some respect for them. Give me your thoughts. What do you think the Yankees are going to do here against Yusei Kikuchi?
I think that there are two major things that benefit the Yankees today. Number one is that the weather is good, outside of the storm chance that could happen early on. Number two is that Kikuchi just hasn't been good necessarily. I think that you can point to his numbers against righties and say there are some good things in there, but it's just rather middling to me, and more so below average at times when things really stack up against him. Now, with that said, we have, and I will come out and say repeatedly, last week streamed pitchers against this offense that we had Jeff Springs with the no hitter through 7 innings was a very touted pitching outs play in that matchup last week, and then we also had Steven Matz as well, who was struggling against righties. Did give up a few runs, but all in all, did pretty well holding this offense to a minimal amount. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do. This is a top implied team total that I feel is kind of fraudulent. Maybe you can make cases that Judge and Goldschmidt are fine, and then the bullpen kind of gives them a little bit more of an edge later. Do you think that they just turn it on because the weather's good? I think I need a little bit more time and sample size for that.
I think the batted ball profile is like what makes me feel at least a little bit bullish on this Yankees team. Like Stanton, for example, he has a 213 weighted on base average against lefties so far this year. He has a 32 WRC plus. Neither one of those numbers are good, but he has a 60% hard contact and really a decent ground ball rate and some good walk stats. Bellinger, same thing, 18% ground ball rate against lefties. He's elevating the ball 72% of the time. That's half the battle, especially when you're a lefty in Yankee Stadium. Getting the ball in the air is sometimes the best thing you can do. Austin Wells hasn't had a hit, hasn't had a walk against the lefty this year, but has a 50% hard contact rate against left-handed pitching too. So like, there's gleaming things that I think make sense for this Yankees team. Am I excited to target them? No, probably not. I'd rather just stay away, honestly. I'm fine with going with Aaron Judge. He had the home run yesterday. That's at least a step in the right direction for him. He had a pretty decent series overall, to be honest. But that home run definitely capped things off for him. But yeah, I'm not overall that excited about targeting this Yankees team. Like I said, there's reasons to believe that they can turn this around and they can have a good day against Kikuchi and the Angels bullpen. I just don't know if I'm willing to trust in it right now.
Yeah, I went back to, for those who follow us and don't really know our sample sizes, we cover left-handed pitching for 30-day samples. So when you look at that, if you take the Robbie Ray start out, Josh, let's start from here. 23 WRC plus against left-handed pitching this year. Not good. It's the worst in the league. Obviously, we know that's bad, and we've already highlighted that. So with that said, they've had the fourth fewest plate appearances against left-handed pitching, which should be noted here. That is important to note. If you take that Robbie Ray start out from the Giants series, where Judge had 2 homers and there was a couple other extra base hits in there, they have a 0 WRC plus over the last 15 days. So obviously not good stuff. What, again, I will harp on is that there's just not a lot of left-handed pitching matchups in this stretch of games, and I think that we can count them on one hand. I think it is Jeff Springs, Steven Matz, and one other. And I'd love to know who that one other is. Maybe I'll find that at some point during the podcast. But
it's no one.
No one?
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, it's just those 3 guys. It's just Ray, Springs, and Matz. Those are the only 3 starters that the Yankees have faced that are left-handed. Everyone else is a relief arm.
Look, Judge does own Robbie Ray, and Ray did okay from there after that. I think he gave up a bomb to Stanton, too. With that said, Springs has had a good year so far. He hasn't pitched in Sacramento that much, and that helps. And Matz is pitching in pitcher-friendly Tampa. So, I'm trying to make a bullish case, though I know that there are not many green flags outside of the Judge and Goldschmidt stuff and some of the stuff you named.
Yeah, it's just hard at the end of the day. I think this is something that I was thinking about when I was writing the rundown. I am more willing to attack a team that has bad BVP against a pitcher than I am willing to attack a team that is ice cold. And I think you can even if you add stats in for versus righties, if you just look at the Yankees offense over the whole last week, it's looked pretty abysmal. I mean, they weren't able to generate a lot of damage in that game against the Rays. They got held hitless for 17 innings against the Athletics.
Yeah.
Things have looked bad from an offensive standpoint. So I try my best not to attack cold offenses. And as much as I'm a Yankee fan, for those who I got the hat on, so I'm sure you can assume I'm a Yankee fan. Even as a Yankee fan, I still find it very hard to believe that instantly this offense is able to turn it around. So I think I stay away here at the end of the day. I think I agree with you that fraudulent top team here when it comes to implied totals.
Yeah, and well, I think what we have to at least admit to ourselves is that yes, you're playing Judge in DFS, unless you can find a valid reason to not play him in cash games, which I don't think there is one. And then like Goldschmidt's obviously good as the leadoff hitter in this situation. Though, do you worry about a pinch hit spot here? Does he get 2 to 3 plate appearances against Kikuchi and get subbed out?
I think if the game's close, probably. I think it all depends
Yeah.
on game situations because I haven't seen. Have they released the lineup for this yet?
Yes, they have.
Is Rice
The only notable
DHing?
thing is Rice is not starting today.
Okay, Rice is not starting, so even more reason where like if the game's close and they bring in a righty, I think Boone will be pretty enthusiastic about getting Rice in there. With he's been the one bat that continues to be the smasher in this
Yeah.
offense over the past week or so. So yeah, I think Rice gets in there somehow, some way. That could be a situation where I mean I don't know if they do it. I wouldn't be shocked if they pinch hit him for Wells and put him at catcher too. So like, there's multiple ways to get Rice in there other than subbing out Goldie. But yeah, I don't know. Is there BVP here? I honestly haven't looked. I mean, I haven't looked at this game all that much. So because you're the one who covered it for the rundown.
Yeah.
Is there good BVP here for the Yanks?
I wish I could say yes, but not really. Judge is
Oh.
5 for 26 with 2 home runs, 8 walks. It's still under
Oh.
200 batting average. Grichuk's 5 for 18, but he's like ice cold at the plate right now. Caballero 4 for 11 with 2 extra base hits. Stanton's 2 for 19. Like it's just
Yeah.
not
No
all that
thanks.
great.
Fine with
Yeah.
staying away from the Yanks then. If there was good BVP, maybe I could get convinced, but more than likely I'm fine with just staying away from this team. All right, we've gone in depth for the Yankees plenty. Do we want to move on to the next team here?
Yeah, we should, but we also should just mention that like it's the reason we went in depth is because it's hard to find reasons to play them. So just
Yeah.
be careful with this team until they get there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about this next team, which is going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers here. They have a 4.8 implied team total, which came down from 5.1 when this game started. Interesting there. The game total is at 8.5 overall, and the Dodgers are minus 167 favorites here on the money line. Yeah, give me your thoughts on the Dodgers as they face off against David Peterson.
First thing we have to mention is that David Peterson does not have a quality start on the year. He's allowed 6+ hits in all 3 of his games. He's allowed 10 earned runs in his last 9.1 innings. Command does not look good. The profile itself shows a strong ground ball rate against righties and a lot of hard contact against lefties in a small sample. If you're telling me that Shohei does have a good matchup lefty lefty here, and some of these other guys like Freeman and Tucker can have success in the matchup, we've seen David Peterson shut down left-handed hitters historically or at good stretches of time. Right now, he's just not doing it. So I'd be more inclined to say that this one feels much more like a top 3 implied team total. The Dodgers are just doing Dodger things. I know that they kind of cooled off a little bit in some spots against Texas, but at the same time, there were still a lot of really high-scoring affairs in that series. So I would tend to side with like, yes, Yankees have really nice hitting weather and a decent matchup overall, but and the Dodgers have the weather is not as good there, but I do think that you find more reasons to be bullish about this side, and I think that I'm not definitely not advocating for David Peterson after what he's looked like the last 2 starts.
Yeah, and I like the BVP here for the Dodgers. A lot of these righties has got to him. Andy Paez has done well. Will Smith has done well. I also really like the upside for Shohei. He continues to be hot. He hit 2 home runs over the weekend. And like we said, Peterson has struggled against lefties this year. I know the BVP doesn't look great for Shohei, but I'm willing to look past it. He has some contact. He has 4 hits, so like
Yeah.
it's not nothing. I also don't think like the Dodger weather is that bad. Like I know it's under 60 degrees here, but wind is blowing out, and that's something that I feel like does make a little bit bigger of a deal in this Dodger stadium. At least in my experience, it does make a big deal. So, yeah, I like what Dodgers bring to the table. I like Shohei to start out, but I think you can go to any of the righties after that. And I think they have a lot of upside here.
Yep, no issues whatsoever with that. Any Kyle Tucker narrative here? Not really.
Narrative for what?
Like he
That he
was in
sucked?
the running and whatever, but like
Oh, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's that big. I think that, well, yeah, I guess he was going to be potential. I feel like he was more likely going to be a Blue Jay than a Met though. At the end of the day, probably.
I'm pulling strings. I don't think that's really noteworthy here.
He's also been really bad. Like maybe I was just watching him a lot this weekend because we had a lot of guys in that Dodgers Rangers series. But he looked bad all weekend, man. It was a tough weekend for Kyle Tucker. I don't know if I can get behind him here. All right. Anything else here? If not, we'll cover one more team for implied totals.
No, let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's head over to this next team. Actually, we got two teams tied. Pick A or B, Jared. I'll choose which one. B. Let's go to the Braves then, as they have a 4.7 implied team total. The game total in this one is 8.5. The Braves are minus 151 moneyline favorites here. Give me your thoughts. What do you think about the Braves as they face off against Yuri Perez?
Initially, I want to state that the winds are blowing in a touch, but this is a nice hitter-friendly situation in Atlanta, and no precipitation to talk about too, which is nice. So, with that said, I wrote 2 articles to start the year, both 10 guys that I thought would take the next step from a hitting perspective and a pitching perspective. The hitters page has done really, really well. And the pitching page has not, and Yuri Perez is on that pitching list. So, with that said, we were trying to. I know we podcasted last week on a slate that he was on, and we were feeling bullish about the situation, and it just didn't click all the way. He had faced Cincinnati in that start, had 6 strikeouts, but still gave up multiple runs. Did get the win though, and that was his best outing of the year in terms of a damage allowed situation. He's had some ups and downs. The strikeout stuff I wish was more consistent, and unfortunately, you're just going to get a Braves team that I know we focus on this for small sample sizes for right-handed pitching, but if you zoom in from 2 weeks to 1 week, the Braves are the hottest team in the league against righties recently, and that is something that I don't like when looking at Yuri Perez's numbers, specifically against right-handed hitters. I know Atlanta is a lefty-heavy lineup, but against righties, this dude does qualify as a gas can, in my opinion. The home run per nine's over 3. It's actually at 3.5. The hard contact's at 45%. He's not getting Ks, and he's honestly surviving, I think, only because he's getting Ks against lefties. And so if you were to point to one thing, that's a positive. He can strike out the middle of this order, but there are so many guys hitting well up and down this order right now, and it's not even just the mainstays. It's the guys at the bottom of the lineup, too. You also add in that Michael Harris is back, and that's a huge upgrade. So, yeah, I like the Braves today.
Yeah, I can understand it. I was saying all last weekend, this Braves team is going to get hot at some point. They're going to break through. It is only a matter of time. And, of course, we saw it all happen either on my days off or on days where they were on Sunday Night Baseball, and I didn't cover them all that much. Yeah, I really like the Braves here. Ronald Acuna has been widely known as one of the unluckiest hitters so far this season. That has started to turn around. He got the home run last week. I think this spot profiles best for him over anyone else. I mean, I know his numbers don't pop off the page, but he's the one righty on this team that I feel like is doing really well. Riley got hot last night, had a really good night at the plate. I think he's definitely in play here. Mauricio Dubon at the bottom of the lineup. And then lastly, Drake Baldwin continues to be I wouldn't say MVP level play, but he's putting together some of the best at bats on this team. So It's been really impressive. He's in the running for Silver Slugger. Baldwin's been crazy to start the year, and I really like the spot. So yeah, when I talked about Perez last week, he was part of my roundtable discussion guy as one of my guys that I liked in pitching. And I mentioned the splits were the main thing that I was looking at, where at home he had been really good, in a way he had been really bad. Well, he's on the road today, and this kind of seems like a spot where Atlanta can expose him. So, yeah, I'm fully on board with Atlanta. I can definitely get behind this spot.
Last thing we should mention about this is Mauricio Dubon. Did you touch on him? Sorry, I was looking at something else.
Yeah, I said I touched on him when I was talking about the righties.
Yeah,
really good stuff.
5 doubles
Dubon
in the past 7 games for Dubon, which is insane. So, yeah. Also, last thing, I don't know if you want to play a niche market, if you can. I don't even know where you'd find this, but over under how many times Acuna gets hit in the series. Josh.
Oh yeah, forget about this beef all the time.
Yeah. So if you have access to that, be my guest. That's more of a fantasy score over, I guess, if you want to go that route. But we'll say, you can make cases that Acuna's in a better spot than some of these lefties, at least.
think you can make half the case
Sort
that
of.
like the Braves offense might be top stack of the day. Like, I mean, you
Yeah.
look at them compared to
Yes.
Dodgers. I
Yes.
think definitely you're taking Braves over Yankees, and then like you
Yes.
just have to compare them one on one with Dodgers. And feel like if you make the stadium conversation or the environment conversation, you get a little bit more excited about what the Braves bring to the table, even if that win doesn't look all that great. All right, anything else here for top implied team totals? If not, we'll move on to hottest hitters.
Uh, yeah, I guess this is kind of an implied total situation. Shohei or Judge tonight?
Uh, I think it's going to be. I'm trying to think. I'll go. I'll go Judge, just purely off bullpen rankings here.
Yep.
Mets bullpen's been really good against
Yep.
lefties. Angels
Yep.
bullpen has been really bad against righties. Um, I think it's kind of a squash when you come to like starters because like Kikuchi's been bad. It's at times. Peterson's been bad at times, and then it just comes down to bullpen. And I think I'd rather take warm weather plus bullpen from Judge.
I would agree. We should also leave this conversation by stating that, at least in the Peterson case, he has not given up a home run this year yet to either side of the plate, though the numbers, hard contact wise, look really bad against left handed hitters in a very, very small sample size. And I probably should have came prepared asking if Kikuchi's given up a home run yet. Technically, he hasn't given up one against righties, but he has given up some against lefties. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But I would tend to side with Judge being the better play as well.
For sure. All right. People are clowning. Well, people. One person is clowning me in Discord for choosing Judge over Shohei because I'm biased. That is neither here nor there, though.
Hey,
Let's
I
move
agree with
on.
Josh. I agree.
Yeah, let's move on to hottest hitters, Jared. There are plenty of guys to talk about in this category now that we have some data finally to support some plays here. Go ahead. Give me your first thoughts on hottest hitters.
Ooh, where to start? I guess I'll go with the chalk answer, as this will be brought up eventually anyway. Uh, this has been a running conversation the entire weekend, and he also made my hitter conversation. I'll let you add some thoughts on this when I get to you. But yeah, it's O'Neal Cruz. He's the hottest hitter in baseball. He's got an 11 game hitting streak. He went yard yesterday. He's had several extra base hits over the past couple of games. And more on that, like he's walking, he's seeing the ball well, he's being aggressive. He stole 5 bases in the Chicago Cubs series, so you love to see that. And while I don't love the matchup for him today, like he certainly could still get to the hitting streak part of things. But yeah, he's the hottest hitter in baseball coming in. Though there are lots of guys that are very, very close that you could argue.
About to say it's a difficult list when you start breaking it
Yes,
down because I think you
yes,
start like it's hard not to put Jordan Walker in this conversation, right?
agreed,
Like home runs in
agreed.
5 of the last 6, 8 game hit streak, 2+ total bases in 6 straight. Like Jordan Walker's been on an absolute tear. Where I mean he came into the I remember when he came in he was considered one of the best prospects in the MLB. That fell out very quickly, and people started to think that he was kind of going to be bust material. We'll see if Walker can end up holding it. I think it's a little bit too soon to say. It's just a hot stretch right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been really fun to watch him. Same thing as you said with O'Neal Cruz, where this matchup is pretty terrible overall. Maybe he gets the job done against some bullpen guys, but Gavin Williams has been shut down against right-handed hitters. But Walker definitely deserves to be in that conversation of hottest hitters for sure.
Yeah, from there, Shohei's homered in back-to-back games. We should also note that Matt Olson, you mentioned this already. I'll also touch on it a little bit more. He has 5 extra base hits in his last 5 games, and would have had a home run last night if that brick in right field was a little bit shorter. It hit off the top of the
Oh
wall.
my gosh,
Ended up with a double. I know you're
so
still
mad about
tilted
that.
about that.
So mad.
Yeah, so he deserves to be on this list as well. Talked about Dubon already. Mike Trout had a really, really nice weekend. He continues to be one of the better hitters on this Angels team. Back-to-back games with a double. I'm sure there's more, so we'll keep going. Name the Washington guys because I know you were all over them too.
Yeah, James Wood was going to be the guy I brought up. Had a great weekend. I honestly, like, he had such a cold start to the season. He had such a bad spring. I was really kind of worried about where he was going to
Yep.
be to start out the year. But you called him one of your favorite hitters in 2026,
Hmm.
and he has completely turned it around from that
Yep.
bad start. 2+ total bases in 7 straight, 2+ hits, runs, RBIs as well. He's been on an absolute tear. And had 2 home runs. They still Milwaukee started walking him yesterday,
I know.
which was pretty
I know.
insane to watch. Yeah, it's been a really good weekend of James Wood. It's been a really good last week of James Wood.
Yes, it has. C.J. Abrams also, not to the same home run degree, but certainly hits, runs, RBIs, contributions, etc. Fun fact: I don't know if it'll come up the rest of the show, but Washington has the third lowest strikeout rate against righties and is facing Paul Skeens tonight. So, good luck with that sweat.
Yeah,
2 more guys on my list. Corbin Carroll has 3 multi-hit games in his last 5. He's doubled 3 times. He's tripled twice. Hasn't left the yard in over a week, but still the extra base hit stuff is really good. And we get to see Dean Kramer. So I'm not sure if he'll come up on the show, but Corbin Carroll should have a monstrous day against Dean Kramer. In this contest, last but not least, it's Gunnar Henderson, who has had a 6-game hitting streak entering Monday. He's homered 4 times in that streak, doubled once. I know there's a lot of 1-for-4s and 1-for-5s, but hey, home runs are home runs, so he makes the
yeah.
list.
Home runs are home runs indeed. All right. Anything else here? If not, let's move right along into our roundtable segment.
Oh, um, I think one more guy, and that's gonna be someone who we both like. So if we don't mention him on the show, we do like him. It's Chase DeLauder, who I believe should start against the lefty. He's got the numbers to prove it, and he has doubled in 4 straight games. So there's
Wow.
that.
There is that indeed. All right, let's head over to Roundtable. For those who don't know how it works, Jared and I bring some of our top plays to the table. Those plays are in different categories, and those categories are ace pitchers, gas can pitchers, and our favorite hitters. Jared, we'll start out with ace pitchers. Who you got?
Yeah, ace pitcher. It's kind of hard to make the case in the early part of the window. I'm saying the first 3 games of the slate. I couldn't find a lot of guys that I really, really liked. So I think what we'll do is I kind of want to talk. Well, let's cover the Crochet spot, and I will just put the disclaimer saying that I don't think we can bet on it still. But if it does happen, I want to be on record saying that it's really, really, really good. I do think that Crochet is one of those elite starters that, at least from a strikeout perspective, has shown up relative to the other strikeout pitchers in the league. Some of them have faltered. We've seen Skeens have a rough start. We've seen Scubal kind of been weird from a strikeout perspective. Crochet has been consistent. He's had 7+ in all 3 of his starts. I think he's got double-digit upside today against a Twins team that I know can be stingy. They had a good weekend yesterday, or this past weekend in the series that they had. But I think the thing here is that they have a ton of strikeout upside for Crochet, who's coming in with a 36% strikeout rate against right-handed hitters. I know he'll have to battle with Jeffers, who's had a nice weekend, and Josh Bell to a certain degree, but Byron Buxton's kind of fallen off. You got a few guys in this lineup that just aren't doing well against his handedness right now. Um, yeah, I like the spot for Crochet, though again, I will say that it's not playable until we get a green light weather-wise.
Yeah, this is kind of just like in general a tough slate for aces. There aren't
It
a
is.
lot of guys out there, and so I kind of feel forced into talking about this guy, which I don't feel great about. But it's hard to ignore the upside for Will Warren. Maybe it's just like my general wanting to stay away from this Yankees team. But at the end of the day, Angels are the second worst team in WRC plus over the last 2 weeks against righties. They have the second highest K rate against righties over the last 2 weeks as well. And this lineup has a real problem of fitting lefties in there. You're only going to have 3 lefties, at least in the projected lineup we have in the model. I'd like to go see if that's any different over on the official lineup. But still, only 3 lefties in here, lots of righties, and that's Warren's been dominant against righties so far this year.
Yep.
The lefties are what's giving him a real problem. But against righties, a 2.71 xFIP, a weighted on base average of 0.188 allowed, a ground ball rate of 60%. Like, against righties, he's been kind of filthy. So I like the upside for Warren. Even in the warm weather, I think Warren can get the job done here. You just got to hope for some run support, really.
For what it's worth, Josh is not being Yankees biased because I was going to bring him up too. Though it was just one of those things where I wanted to see the lefties. So I'm looking right now for the Angels. Neto, Trout, Shanuel, that's one. Soler, Moncada, two. Adele, Lowe, three. Ohop, Frazier, four. So I don't know if you count
I
Frazier
mean,
or not, but yeah,
yeah, I was about to say some of those lefties are like bad. Like that's the other
yeah.
thing is that like the lefties
Lowe
in this
and
lineup,
Frazier are not good right now. Yeah.
yeah, Lowe and Frazier, and Lowe's been really bad recently. Mankata's been good. Nolan Scanewell's been awful at the plate against righties this season. So, yeah, this is a good matchup overall for what Warren brings to the table. All right, let's go over to gas cans. What do you got?
Kind of already mentioned the Yuri Perez stuff, so I will not use that here, though again, he should qualify in this conversation. I do think that Ryan Nelson has enough innings against both sides of the plate to be a gas can, though it's mainly from the left side of the plate where he has a strikeout rate and a walk rate both at 13.9%, which is never a good thing. 3.4 home run per nine is a lot over 8 innings. 26% ground ball rate's not going to do well in a spot where things are starting to get a little warmer in Camden. The hard contact to both sides of the play is averaged around 42%, which is not good. And while he's striking out righties, and he could certainly strike out some Orioles today. Don't get me wrong, but against a lefty-heavy Orioles lineup, I just don't see worlds where this turns out well. So they're not going to be like Orioles. I think are a dark horse stack. We didn't mention them in the implied run total stuff, but I do think that they at least a good chunk of their players line up better than what I think the Yankees line up against today.
Yeah, can certainly get behind that. I'm going to go to this spot. Ryan Nelson was going to be the guy that I chose. I'm happy you got to him, though. Definitely needs to be mentioned. I'll go to Grant Holmes here, man. Like, I don't know if Grant Holmes necessarily qualifies as a gas can level pitcher, but this is a really bad matchup. I think Holmes is the guy that really lives by the Ks. If he can get the Ks, he usually has a pretty good start. You're not going to get strikeouts against this Miami team, though. A Miami team that's fifth in WRC plus over the last week against right-handed pitching. They have a ton of lefties in this lineup that can give it to Holmes. Holmes has been decent against lefties, but the hard contact has been high. The walk rate has been high, which is not good against this Marlins team. And the BABIP has been really low. It's at .111, which means that he's getting really lucky against lefties right now. And the hard contact proves that as well. So think that definitely takes a turn today where he's got to face off against a bunch of lefties in this lineup. I like Edwards. I like Hicks. Owen Cassie as well. Yeah, they profile really well here.
Yes, they do. We've been bullish on Miami in general. I think we kind of talked them down a little bit on the division preview. But with that said, they've come out and smashed right-handed pitching. And I think the exact, I won't be able to, I'll paraphrase what I said on the rundown when to close out the spot for Grant Holmes. And like, this guy's just getting, I think he's just getting lucky
Yeah.
to start the year. And I think that it's only a matter of time when Atlanta gets hot and he's just going to be in a bad spot. So he's kind of just hanging on, and I do think Marlins can get to him somehow. Okay. Yeah. What's the next segment again?
Top hitters, or top hitter, excuse me.
Top hitter. Okay, I'll try to use one that's not on the hottest hitters thing, which could be a difficult exercise.
Yeah.
What I will say,
Don't take my guy. I'm going to be mad if you take my guy because I don't know who
I
else I'm
don't
going to bring
think
up.
is it an A?
No, it is not an A. Thank goodness.
Okay, okay. I'll make an outside the box case today. Let's see. Yeah, I just hope that he makes the lineup today. Well, he should. Okay, I was gonna debate between a couple of lefties for the A's, but I think I'm just gonna go with Tyler Soderstrom, who has had a nice weekend. He certainly is contributing. He had a nice 2-home run day over the weekend, and I just don't think that you can make a case that we could have used one of us could have used Nathan Eovaldi as a gas can situation. Strikeout stuff's been there for Eovaldi, but the stuff against lefties is pretty much on point with the Yuri Perez profile, pretty much on point with the Ryan Nelson profile, though Eovaldi's doubling Ryan Nelson in strikeouts against lefties, but the damage numbers speak volumes, and he's only surviving against righties because the ground ball rate's really good too. So when you factor in that Soderstrom's K rate is one of the lowest on the team as a lefty against this handedness, you can factor in that maybe there's less of a chance for strikeouts, more of a chance for damage, and I do like the upside for Soderstrom here. He's more of like a he definitely isn't a hottest hitter. He definitely is not like a HRR streamer. This is mainly just like a boomer bust home run spot for me.
Yeah, I like the play a lot, man. I like this A's team today. I mean, overall, I think Eovaldi has been redeeming with his strikeouts, but like there's a lot of damage right now. Gotta remember, he's like an older pitcher too, so like this, to see a regression is not out of the norm for a guy like this. Yeah, I like Soderstrom. I like Nick Kurtz a lot too. I think Kurtz is really starting to warm up. He had a home run yesterday. I know the strikeouts are definitely a worry. It's a strikeout or bust play, or a home run or strikeout type play. But yeah, I like the Kurtz spot a lot too. But Soderstrom definitely solid from that K perspective. Okay, I don't know. I hope we didn't mention this guy. Maybe I tuned it out and I don't remember us mentioning this guy on hot hitters. He should have been on hot hitters though, because he's been just as hot as any of the other guys we mentioned and went in depth on. Gunnar Henderson, man, has been on an absolute roll. Had a great day yesterday. Has been on absolute fire. And like you've already covered, Ryan Nelson has been really bad against lefties. Gunnar Henderson is kind of the guy to take this on. Like, he has been smashing righty pitching. 326 ISO is absolutely insane. Yeah, I really like the Gunnar Henderson spot today.
Like Gunner as well. Maybe a name that people forget, but like Nelson's just bad. So there's definitely a world where Nelson can strike out 6 hitters and give up 6 runs today. That's not over exaggerating either.
Henderson has had 2+ total bases in 5 of the last 6 games. He's also had 2+ HRR in 6 of the last games. He's had 1+ run in 6 straight games as well. So Henderson deserves to be on that hot hitter list. I didn't mention him because I wanted to save him for this segment, but yeah, he's definitely deserves to be on that hot hitter list, and he had a really good weekend too. So excited about the spot for Henderson here. All right, anything else for Roundtable, Jared? If not, let's head over to Two Minds Are Better Than One.
Yep, let's do it.
Let's do it. For those who don't know how it works, Jared and I go back and forth, each of us selecting 2 player props each. We put those player props into a parlay, with our goal of the parlay to have around +100 to +150 odds. Jared, I'll let you go first. Where do you want to go?
I'm going to be an idiot because we haven't podcasted much for baseball. Can you please tell me what, again? Because every time I come to this, I look at the spot and I'm like, this is great. And then you tell me that it can't do that. So what is the walks market?
You can only do, I can't do like one, like if a guy has a line for like 2+ walks, I can't do like 1+ walk. I can only do, the way they've done it is obviously you can only bet on blank walks or lower. So like a guy to have like 5 walks or lower than 5 walks. Does that make sense?
As an exercise, let's walk through Gavin Williams here. Tell me what you see for him.
Hold on. Let me get there. So for Gavin Williams walks, where are these?
Probably going to be off the charts because it has been really bad.
So I can see 2 or fewer or 1 or fewer, but I can't bet on like 1+. Yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, for those out there who have the ability to do this in other places, Gavin Williams has walked 3+ hitters in 3 straight starts, and he has a tremendously terrible, generally speaking, walk rate to both sides of the plate. 19% to lefties, 23% to righties. So you have the Cardinals grading out as one of the strongest walk teams against right-handed pitching. They walk 12.6% of the time. So if you're looking for something, absolutely be my guest. And I'm quite tempted to say that I think Alec Burleson, nothing is free, but I think that it's very close to a really strong walk situation for him. So I won't do it just because I got burned by Ben Rice last week by doing the same thing. But I think we could stick with Gavin here. That's kind of, you know what? I'm going to go for it, Josh, because he's had his command issues, but he's also had his like tremendously good strikeout rate too. So 34% to lefties, 42% to righties. If you don't have access to the walk stuff or think that that's a little untrustworthy, you can stream Gavin Williams from a strikeout perspective against St. Louis right now. They have 5 guys in the projected lineup, actually 6 with a strikeout rate over 27% to this handedness. So we can get Gavin from a variety of angles. I'd love to see where you're looking.
Yeah, so fun stuff here. Gavin Williams is either 4+ strikeouts for -1,000 or 5+
Jeez.
strikeouts for -396. So up to you. Well, I
I'm
mean,
cool with
we
five.
should take. Yeah, let's do 5. I think that's a smart move. Yeah, I almost named Williams my ace. I got really close just
He's
because,
close.
like we said, it's hard to find a guy today. Those walks are what really scared me off after seeing how well St. Louis is doing in the walk category. Though I will
Yeah.
say, yesterday is I brought up this walk stat against Bayo because Brian Bayo has been walking a ton of guys.
Yep.
I think Bayo got out of there with 0 walks. So maybe
Okay.
maybe it was a. An outlier. Maybe St. Louis isn't that good at walking, and we're just seeing a limited sample size here, potentially. I don't know if that is actually the case, but yeah, I really like the Gavin Williams K conversation. Okay, I am going to go to this spot for. Yeah, let's go with Brandon Nimmo for 1+ hit run RBI. I really like what I've seen from Nimmo. We talked about this trade that the Mets and the Rangers made over the winter, where Rangers got Nimmo, Mets got Simeon, and I kind of said how like it was a wash of a trade and didn't really mean much. I was wrong. I think Nimmo's working out really, really well in this lineup. I think he's doing a fantastic job with Corey Seager there to give him some support. He was a menace this weekend. On Friday, he was really good. And then on Saturday and Sunday, he had good days too. So Brandon Nimmo is who I'm going to go with here.
Yeah, that I think I might have leaned with the Mets in our NL East conversation, and boy, if I said that, that is extremely wrong. So, um, yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see how the Simeon stuff can kind of shape there. I don't. Nimmo's hot right now, so we'll run that into today. Um, what was I gonna do? Oh, I was just gonna take Xavier Edwards for 2 hits, runs, RBIs. Nice
Nice.
matchup against Grant Holmes. Yes, there's a chance for walk risk. So if you're playing it on a DFS site, make sure to play the fantasy score. But for this, I'm fine with 2+ hits, runs, RBIs in this offense.
Let's go 1+, just because
Okay.
2+ is -127. So makes more sense for the parlay as a whole. And man, I'm going to have to choose one of these hot hitters. And I don't know which one to go with. Oh, maybe I don't have to choose one of these hot hitters. I don't know. Really quickly, I know this is kind of going off the rails a little bit, but give me your thoughts on Dean Kramer and what he brings to the table. We didn't get to talk about him like at all today.
Well, there's definitely some motivation behind this in general. He did not make the opening day roster. Baltimore's rotation has been middling at best, and they've had some injuries along with that. So there's certainly a chance if he does well that he's able to just command a spot in the rotation moving forward. I do think he's going to struggle with Corbin Carroll. But from there, like, I'm not really worried about this spot for Ketel Marte. I'm not really worried about Perdomo, who's gone ice cold, though he's not going to strike out. It's just he's not putting together good plate appearances right now. The bottom of the order is abysmal. They're like all on the cold hitters side of our rundown. So yeah, outside of Carroll, who could ruin he could ruin his day. I'm not going to lie, but usually we say one guy is not enough to deter the spot. So I don't mind the Dean Kramer stuff in general. I just don't know what his pitch count looks like.
Yeah, honestly, I was asking for one hitter, and it was Corbin Carroll. So I'm going to go with Corbin Carroll here because I do like the spot for Corbin quite a bit.
Yep.
I will say, like, Ketel Marte hit the home run over the weekend. This offense looked a little bit better yesterday overall against the Phillies. Yeah, I don't mind. Like, I don't know what Dean Kramer's going to bring to the table. He had one really bad start. Well, it wasn't even really bad. He just gave up some damage in AAA, and then the second start he had, he looked great. He went 4.2 innings with 0 earned runs allowed, and I think like 3 hits allowed or something along those lines. So Kramer's looked good, or somewhat good, and he didn't have a bad spring. They kind of just left him off because they didn't have an option to do anyone else,
Right.
and
Yep.
now that the rotation's already injured, they got to bring him back up. So, yeah, I like this spot for Corbin Carroll. Also, Baltimore's bullpen has been iffy against lefties. I won't call them bad, below average at the very least. So 1+ hit run RBI for Carroll. So altogether, we have Gavin Williams for 5+ strikeouts, Brandon Nimmo for 1+ hit runs RBIs, Xavier Edwards for 1+ hit runs RBIs, and then Corbin Carroll for 1+ hits runs RBIs. Altogether, get you at +152. All right, Jared, let's get out of here. Give me your final thoughts.
On top of that, Carroll stuff, he's 3 for 6 with a double and a home run against Kramer
Oh,
historically.
beautiful. Love
So
it.
it works out in that factor. Okay, final thoughts. We did not get to talk about the Phillies today against Javier Assad. We mentioned Assad as he definitely made a gas can conversation for me last week and then completely shut down the Tampa Bay Rays. So with that said, because I think when you were asking A or B for the implied totals, Philly probably was that other team. So
It was.
just quick thoughts on that. Like I am staying far, far away from attacking Assad until we see some damage. And yes, that could come tonight. I think Harper's a phenomenal play again, and I think Schwarber doesn't have as much strikeout risk as he usually would in this matchup. But from there, like Philly is just not producing against right-handed pitching right now. So it's kind of the Schwarber Harper show, and Justin Crawford has too high of a ground ball rate for me to trust. So and so does Trey Turner in that same conversation to a certain degree. So I'm off of everybody on Philly outside of the main two lefties there. And I was struggling to feel like super good about Christopher Sanchez too, who might have made an ace conversation. I still think he's more than likely fine, but like wasn't feeling super bullish about much outside of maybe like a strikeout alt spot. Weird spot for Philly where I'll probably say yes to Short or yes to Harper if somebody asks me, but I'm not going to go out of my way to play that matchup tonight and kind of just wait that out. So wanted to give my 2 thoughts there or 2 cents there on that. I'm going to refresh my weather page and then you can give your thoughts here and I'll see if there's any updates.
Yeah, on the Sanchez front, just since we didn't talk about him, I like somewhat like the spot. At least from a K perspective, like Chicago's striking out in bunches. I know it's kind of narrowed down to a few like bad suspects here. Like Happ has a really bad K rate, Swanson has a really bad K rate, and then PCA has a really bad K rate. Did PCA might be another guy that like they didn't let make the lineup like they did Michael Busch yesterday because he's just been struggling so much. I don't know. Let me go check right now before we.
PCA is hitting 8th today.
Yeah, so he did make the lineup. That's a good K spot, along with those other guys that I mentioned. Yeah, I can get behind Sanchez K's. Like the K's still look fine. He could very much be a guy that gets like 7 or 8 strikeouts in 6 innings, but gives up 3 to 4 earned runs overall. I also think Chicago could struggle. I mean, coming from that really great hitting environment to now coming into Philly, where well, I guess the weather isn't that bad there. Temps are in what? Temps are in the 70s. Winds are blowing out. Yeah, I guess the weather isn't that bad, but it's not Wrigley weather like it was yesterday. So yeah, overall, I can get behind the Christopher Sanchez spot. I don't know what to do with Javier Assad. I think you're fine just staying away, like you said. And yeah, I don't really have any other thoughts. Fade. Well, I'm not going to say fade Yankees, but be careful with the Yankees today.
Very careful. They're gonna have a ton of ownership in DFS, and I don't know, man. I guess we'll just wait and see, because it is only a matter of time when they start hitting 3-4 home runs a game. We saw that last year when they came out relatively cold in the first couple series, and then they just lit up. So maybe all they need is some nice weather and a bad pitcher, and then you kind of got that today in Kikuchi. Yeah. From there, I don't know, housekeeping. Like we can touch on this tomorrow too, but you want to give people the lowdown for what we're doing with NBA now hitting playoff mode tomorrow.
Oh, I was like, what is he talking about? Isn't tomorrow just a normal day? Yeah, I talked about this in the chat earlier today. Big board and the projections will still projections go on for the whole entire playoffs, just like they did last year. No changes there. Big board, plan to have it out until I'm going to reevaluate once we get into semis, because I don't know if there'll be enough games every day for it to make sense to be putting out a big board. Maybe I'll still put out like flag plants and ladders and that's it. But yeah, I plan on doing big boards all the way through until we get to the semi-conference finals, and then we'll reevaluate from there and see where we're at. But yeah, NBA sucked yesterday, dude. I had Cooper Flag as my flag plant. He was at 31.5 points. My main reasoning was like, yeah, he has to go out there and like dominate to really lock up this Rookie of the Year. Play 10 minutes. Like, what are you doing, dog? Like, just don't fucking play. Why are you playing if you're only going to play 10 minutes? You're not a playoff team. It doesn't matter. Luke Kennard does the same thing. I really like this scoring. Was against the Jazz. Thought there was a lot of 3-point opportunities. He's been like the second shot taker ever since everyone got injured. Only played 10 minutes for some reason. I just had like terrible luck yesterday. So on to the next one. Very excited about playoffs around the corner. Hopefully no bullshit sits like we've had over the last over the last weekend, basically.
Yeah, it's amazing how clear the injury report might be in the next week
yeah.
or so.
Yeah,
for
it
the
gets really
NBA.
clear.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Jared? If not, let's get out of here, man.
Just to rehash on the weather stuff, didn't really get a strong update. We'll need another 40 minutes probably for that final announcement. But Target Field, like we said, is the scariest weather of the day. You're not playing Crochet as the release of this podcast at 5 p.m. Eastern. So don't play it unless we get some good news, and members will have that news shortly here. And then the other note is that, like, I think Skeens is rather risky in general. I'm off the spot to be completely transparent, so I'd rather just fade Skeens than sweat it under. The strikeout matchup is just not good, and Washington has been good. They've been putting up runs consistently against right-handed pitching. They made Woodruff look like a fool yesterday. Rough series all around for Milwaukee pitching, so it goes even further than that. They were beating up on LA pitching a week ago. So, like, I think that Washington right now is very, very hard to target pitching against, and you add in the rain risk on top of that, and it doesn't sound like something you should do on this slate. So I know it's a smaller, like if you filter those two games out and take out the Seattle game, like you got 7 games to choose from. There's still really good 7 games on this card. So I like the card overall.
Yeah, can definitely get behind that. All right. Anything else? If not, let's get out of here, man.
Nope, let's get out of here.
All right. Thank y'all for listening. As always, my name is Joshua Reimer, and we will see y'all tomorrow.